Attention, attention, all rhinos, consider yourselves officially put on notice that the grassroots is watching. We are watching you. We are done with you trying to remove our true conservative fighters. We are done with you working with the radical left on issues. We are done with you doing these things. And if you don't listen to us, we will kick you to the curb. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Take care now. Bye-bye then. We are done.
Welcome to Come and Take It. I am your friendly host, Sara Gonzales. Friendly most of the time. I don't usually bite. You have to start the fight first for me to bite, but friendly most of the time, Sara Gonzales. And welcome to episode 1. I'm so excited to be here. And, I've had a lot of people ask me, look, Sara, you're involved in a lot. You've got a show on Blaze. You've got this national presence. You're doing the makeup thing with American Beauty by Sarah. You're the executive director of Defend Our Kids Texas. Like, why this? Why Come and Take It? And why now? And it's something that I thought a lot about before I took on this endeavor. And look, Texas has been my forever home. It's going to be my forever home. I could never see myself leaving this state. And I have just watched, as I've grown up, I've watched Texas kind of get closer and closer and closer to, teetering over the edge. And I've just watched this slow decay and slow descent for long enough. All right. I've watched the city I grew up in host the city I grew up in. I mean, I'm talking like the middle of suburbia where you would consider to be really, really red. I've watched that city, Plano, Texas, host all ages sexually explicit drag shows. I mean, I was there, right? I went in the premises. I wore this disguise. I took this video that I was jaw dropping. I couldn't believe that I was taking this, that I was seeing what I was seeing right in front of my very eyes, where these grown men seemingly just really enjoyed dancing provocatively to sexually explicit songs right in front of young children. It's just like when you see it. In real life, it's mind-boggling. And I've also read, all of the disgusting books that are in school libraries that children are consuming on our dime, by the way, on our taxpayer dime. They're consuming this disgusting, sexually indoctrinating literature that apparently our public school libraries around the state are just totally fine with. And, I'm seeing all of this decay in our society, this rot within our society. And sometimes I think people think, well, that's not happening here in Texas. Here in Texas, we're super red. And it's just not true anymore. Texas is not the Texas that it once was, right? Like, Texas used to be this bastion of freedom and liberty. And, we used to lead the nation. Whenever anyone thought of I'll use the term, the title of my podcast, Come and Take It. Whenever anyone thought of that, come and take it vibe, or that freedom and give me liberty or give me death, I realize that I'm stealing that from another state's motto. But the point is, whenever anyone thought of those phrases, the natural association was, that's Texas. Texas is the one to tell the federal government to shove it. Texas is the one that is always leading the way in liberty and freedom and all of these other conservative ideals that we hold so true. And look, the thing is comparatively speaking, is Texas more conservative than Maine? Sure. Because I talked to a lot of people in other states, and they're like, well, you guys have it great in Texas with your governor and your leadership. And I'm like, I mean, compared to what? Because I'm not happy unless we're number one in leading the way, leading the pack on the conservative agenda. That's what Texas should be. We should be leading the way, and we just not are up to Texas standards anymore.
That's not good enough.
Let me tell you what I mean by that. Let me give you some examples, okay? Our leaders have been incredibly weak on the border. And I know if I'm talking to someone from another state, they don't quite understand what it is that I mean. So let me explain. It took our leadership 3 years to finally stand up to the Biden regime on the border. And even then, we talk about buoys and we talk about razor wire and we talk about, taking over spaces and not letting the federal government in, and all that is well and good. But let's be honest, okay? The buoys are a very tiny fraction of an area when we're talking about the entirety of the southern border, the Texas southern border. It's just a teeny tiny little area. Other than that, the illegals are able to just go right around that back into the interior of the country. Okay, so it's a start, but it's not enough. How many times did we hear Governor Abbott declare an invasion on the border? He's like, there's an invasion. I'm declaring an invasion. And then what happened? Nothing. He issued a press release. We read on paper, it looked really good on paper, but nothing was done. So am I proud of the fact that it took our state 3 freaking years of letting illegals in, of not pushing back at all on our sovereign border, of just allowing the federal government to come in and unlock the doors that we've locked, undo the borders that we have tried to... 3 years, you guys, and what, 10 million illegals already? I personally think that number is low. I think it's much higher than that, but we'll use that number. We'll use the lower end. We'll use the conservative end. That's what we are, conservatives. We'll use the conservative end, okay? 10 million people. And now after 3 years, right before campaign season, mind you, our leadership decides to, quote, do something on the border. I just don't buy it. I'm grateful for them taking some sort of action. I'm not sold on it leading the way, leading the path, being the most conservative leadership that they could possibly be. It's just not. And it's great for optics. But the fact of the matter is these things could have and should have been done years ago. So thank you for what you've just recently done. It's not enough. We need more. How about, going back to what I said before of, our cities having school boards, city councils, librarians, like I previously mentioned, having this local leadership in place that allows the sexual degeneracy of children to take place. I mean, here's the thing. You could go to, because of the work that I do, this is what I know. You could go to the reddest area. You think this is the reddest area of Texas, right? The most rural area, the reddest area. You're like, ain't no way these all ages drag shows are going to take place in this area. In Amarillo, already happened. In Lubbock, already happened. In Plano, as I mentioned, already happened. In McKinney, already happened. I mean, these are things that resign Austin. By the way, I don't claim Austin. I don't know if you guys do. I don't claim Austin. Austin is just kind of an island out on its own. I don't consider it part of Texas because it's just a bunch of, crazy libs that have gone too far off the deep end. But Austin aside, take Austin out of it. Take the big cities out of it. Because you would expect that these big Democrat-run cities would have all sorts of deviancy and degeneracy running amok. Take those out of it. I'm talking about very, very staunch conservative communities. Princeton, Texas. These places where you would never think for 1 second your children would be indoctrinated by all of these, sexual cults, I'll call them. You would think that our children would not be, your children would not be unsafe in their elementary school library in all of these red cities. It's just not the case anymore because the left has been so good, very effective at infiltrating in all of these different industries, whether you're in Texas, whether you're in California, whether you're in New York, whether you're in Colorado, it doesn't matter. They have been very, very good and very persistent and very diligent about infiltrating themselves into all of our local issues. So they've infiltrated the education system. They've infiltrated the medical system. Yes, even here in Texas, they've infiltrated higher education. They've infiltrated in the libraries. They've infiltrated everywhere so that they could push their agenda on all of our Texas children, regardless of where you are in the state. So you think that you're safe because you live in a suburban neighborhood with your suburban friends and you're all conservative and you think you're going to send your kids to school, they're going to get a proper education. Even in some cases, guys, private schools. Even in private schools, there are some private schools that parents are paying a ridiculous amount of money to send their kids to. And at the end of the day, the kids are coming home just being sexually indoctrinated. So that's not even enough. Okay? Just those two issues are not minor issues that I'm talking about that we have to watch out for in Texas, that we have to fight against in Texas. And, when you talk about the issue of school, we still don't even have school choice, right? It took our legislature 5 different special sessions in which they went and paid themselves extra money to try to talk about school choice. And at the end of the day, it didn't happen, even though Texans overwhelmingly have been asking for it. Texans overwhelmingly have said, my tax money that I am paying for my child to be educated should follow my child. There's no reason why I should have to pay extra just to give my child a quality education because you guys in public schools can't get your crap together enough to figure it out. We still don't have that. But the legislators had absolutely no problem taking victory laps after their 5th session, acting as if they were just we were the most successful legislature in Texas history. I don't know. I mean, I feel like if you really had true convictions, it wouldn't take you 5 freaking sessions to not pass school choice, to barely pass anything on the border, to, what else? They gave us minor property tax relief. It was a little bit. I'll give you some credit where credit's due. You gave us a small fraction of the property tax relief that we deserve, that we are owed. Congratulations. Here, let me give you I'll give you a golf clap. Okay, great job. But it's just not enough. It's certainly not leading the way when it comes to conservative states in the nation. And here's another thing. Let me give you one more. We still haven't banned in 5 sessions. We still haven't banned the owning of land by the CCP. So by China, by Russia, by Iran, by all of these bad actors. We still haven't banned ownership of Texas land by Chinese nationals. Like, how crazy is that? I mean, we're looking at China waging war on our entire country, buying up land in our entire country. And Texas can't get together and go, okay, well, this seems to make the most sense. We certainly don't want CCP-linked, people buying up our land and trying something a little bit shady here in our state. Certainly, we can all agree that we shouldn't have foreign nationals buying up a bunch of land. By the way, it's not a controversial thing, or it's not a controversial idea because it's already been done in other states. So we can't even do that here in Texas. But again, the legislature will give themselves many, many pats on the back for all of their very strong leadership, even though the people have asked them, we need you to do more, and they've chosen not to do so. And, our very own elected officials, will just continue to empower and embolden these, betas, like Speaker of the House Dade Phelan, to go out and assign key committee chair positions to Democrats. These are very powerful legislative positions that are just being given away to Democrats. And then, by the way, after they've given these key powerful positions to Democrats, they choose to, impeach one of our most conservative fighters that we have, certainly the most conservative fighter that we have in the state, arguably one of the most conservative fighters in the entire country when it comes back to pushing back against the Biden regime, which is, of course, our Attorney General, Ken Paxton. So it's like they're shooting our priorities in the foot. They're stabbing us in the back with a knife. They're twisting it and they're saying, Congratulations. Don't you want another? Well, no, I don't. So, and by the way, on the note of this, giving Democrats key roles on these committees as committee chairs, I know that some Republicans here in Texas will make the argument like, well, we've always done it that way. We're not the first ones to do it that way. Here's the fact of the matter. The fact of the matter is 20 years ago, you had a much more moderate leftist wing, right? They were moderate, blue dog Democrats. They were really not too far off from the values that we hold. And it was a little bit more reasonable to talk about bipartisanship. Here is what we are talking about now, here in this day and age in the state of Texas. We are talking about them wanting to socially, medically transition our children. We're talking about chopping off body parts of our children. We're talking about whether or not we sexually indoctrinate them. We're talking about abortion up until the point of birth. We're talking about all of these issues that they used to be reasonable on, that they have swung so far to the radical left that there is no compromise with these people. There is no bipartisanship left. The crazies have taken over on the other side of things. So if you want to reason with crazy, go ahead, but all you're going to do is drag yourself down to crazy. You can't play bipartisanship with these people on these key issues because they're so far off the reservation. You just can't do it. So problems abound here in Texas, okay? Are we the worst state in the country? No. But we're not Texas, and we could be better. And that is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I'm tired of sitting around and watching Texas in this slow descent into Democrat light. I want more for my state. Now, here's some good news, okay? Super Tuesday was a bloodbath for these squishy, no good rhinos, okay? Super Tuesday was like, it was like,
Attention, all rhinos. Consider yourselves officially put on notice that the grassroots is watching. We are watching you. We are done with you trying to remove our true conservative fighters. We are done with you working with the radical left on issues. We are done with you doing these things. And if you don't listen to us, we will kick you to the curb. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Take care now. Bye-bye then. We are done.
okay. It was by the way, yes, I do use this when I go out to events and participate in a little activism. So here's what's happened. The most conservative fighters in our House after Super Tuesday, after our primaries, are safe. But once you start going past the top 25 most conservative members of the House, once you start going into like squishy territory, it was not a good night for the squishes. You have like 9 rhinos who just lost outright, just lost. And you have, I believe, another 8 who are going into runoffs where they don't have, an incumbent goes into a runoff. That's tough. That's a tough race for the incumbent to win. So, Drunk Dade?
Acceptable to the author. Is there objection to the opposite amendment? The chair has none. Amendment is adopted.
Going into a runoff? I don't know. I don't think the House was prepared for this. I don't think the legislature, in their arrogance, was prepared for the grassroots to show up and overwhelmingly, as they did on Super Tuesday last week, and say, no more. We are done. So, look, that's good news, okay? But what does this mean? What it means is our work is not done. We've made some headway, okay? But don't fall asleep at the wheel again. We have to stay engaged through the runoffs. We have to vote for the most conservative candidate, show up again show up again and vote for the most conservative candidate on the ballot through these runoffs if you live in a place where one of these runoffs is taking place, and then be prepared to come out in full force once again in November, because they were not anticipating that we would get active. They were not anticipating that we would mobilize the way that we did here in Texas. The legislature was completely unprepared for us to send the message that we did, that we will no longer tolerate them not listening to us. So we have to follow it through. We have to follow it through with the biggest push that we could ever have and just like get a home run. And can you imagine what, let's get, we've got the 9 that are gone. If we win all of those 8 runoffs, the Texas House looks completely different. We have the opportunity to get an actual conservative as our speaker, and then things are looking up. All right. So look, I'm here to tell you Texas grassroots is alive and well, and I don't think we're going to take it anymore. And I hope that you join me in this journey. I hope that you join me in this fight. It is for the soul, the heart and soul of our state. And I don't know about you, but I'm not willing to walk away so easily. I'm in it for the long haul, and I hope that you are too. I hope that you will join me, and we'll see you here next time.